So we're calling the meeting to order. It's 7:05, I think, approximately. I'm just going to follow the agenda. And Kathy, can you hold up the flag? And as we know in Rotary, you're supposed to stand when you pledge allegiance. Joe, stand up. Oh, you were. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
I don't have any pants on, so.
For which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, once again, I would like to welcome everybody. It's good to see everybody. It's been a while. I think it's just over a year. Kathy, when was our last meeting?
Yeah, March, right before we shut down.
And last year, correct me if I'm wrong, Kathy, it was the year that we had the least complaints on Trumbull Day. So
Yes, yes, we had no complaints, and our income matched our outflow.
Yeah.
So it was a great year.
So the big thing we want to discuss is, I think, the feasibility of the holding of Trumbull Day. And just to get an idea of where everybody stands, who thinks we should have Trumbull Day this year, just by a show of hands?
I shouldn't be voting.
No, this isn't a vote. It's just a kind of.
Okay.
So everybody is in favor of having Trumbull Day right now. I think that there will be a lot to be worked out. I think a lot has to happen, both in actual disease control and I think it has to happen in public policy too. But let's go with that thought and see let's try to plan for it. Although I don't know that we can do a whole lot right now, but we can plan so that when it is time to act, we can take the right actions, or at least have a plan to. So the first item on this beautiful agenda, well done, Kathy, is the carnival. So I believe we have a contract for the carnival. I'm not sure. Do you know, Kathy?
We have a contract that was able to be extended for a year,
Okay.
if we so desired. So we still have that option to extend that contract.
Well, I happen to be in proximity of Mr. Stewart and did not have any direct conversations with him about the carnival, but I overheard him saying that he was hoping that Trumbull Day would still occur. And they asked him when. I think he said July 4th weekend, and so that would be the time we would be having it.
Yeah, if it's going to depend on his availability if we want to extend his contract. So I would suggest that someone make a motion to extend the contract if that's what we want to do.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Bridget.
Thank you.
Any discussion?
No, with it being July 4th weekend, are we saying the Friday, Saturday? So then it would be the 2nd, 3rd?
I think
and
that
just the
would
2
be.
days, yes?
I think that would be something we'd discuss. But
I'm sorry, can I ask who seconded? It's hard to follow on the screen.
Vinny, Kathy.
Vinny, thank you.
Yes.
boy, I miss you, Vinny.
I miss you too.
There's not as much of you around as there used to be.
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
I think the good part stayed good. I hope so anyway. So I think we can discuss that both with Stewart and whether it's to our advantage or not, in the town, whether it's to our advantage to do it or not. Whether we want to have a rain date or we want to just have 3 days. They're all something that we can discuss, and I don't think we have to decide tonight, but I think we should get back to him or Stewart Amusement and make sure that he knows he's reserving this for these dates. And to him, he's not going anyplace if he's going that weekend. So we're really in control as to how we want to run it. And but we can discuss that. I do think that this really is a kind of a preliminary meeting, and we're going to have to have another meeting maybe in 2 weeks to kind of firm up things just like this.
Preston,
Mike?
do you know, given this whole situation with COVID, do you know if there's any possibility that he might be available like the last weekend in June? It's going to depend on who he's contracted with.
Is there a possibility? Yes.
Okay.
Is there, is that something that the town would prefer?
I think just in time, well, we can get, when we get into the fireworks, because we have a contract outstanding with the fireworks. And I know their availability for that week, for the 4th of July weekend. So I know when they're, let's see if he has any availability for the last weekend in June. And if
Okay.
not, July 2nd and 3rd, we'll work with the
Okay.
fireworks.
Okay. So the fireworks are basically set. We just have to tell them when we're going. It's the same contract that we had approved last year.
Yes, yes.
Should we be approving that contract again this year?
Well, they have our deposit from last year that they'll apply to this year.
Okay, so it's kind of a
So-
no-brainer.
Yes, we really would, and they have the option in their contract as well to extend.
Okay.
We to extend, but I know they are not available on July 4th. So if we had it the 2nd, fireworks the 3rd, we don't have a rain date for the 4th. We would have to push the rain date out to the next weekend. If we had the last weekend in June, if Stewart was available, then we could make the rain date the 2nd or the 3rd of July. So I'm just asking him, Stewart, you know, I have no idea what his schedule is. So, and
I don't think he really does either, but
yeah, I know he has
I'll-
commitments.
I'll make
for
a
those
phone
weekends.
call to him.
All right, so we'll leave it to you.
Do you want a motion on fireworks?
Let's get the motion on the carnival first, please.
Okay, all in favor of re-upping with Stewart Amusement, say aye, or raise your
Aye.
hand, please.
Anybody
Anybody
opposed?
against?
Okay.
Anybody abstain? I will abstain because I
just
do
have
have a,
quick-
Oh,
Pardon?
Joanne
I
is,
can't really vote, right?
she can't vote, but she
No.
has agreed to stay on and help. So, but she can't vote because
Okay.
she's
that-
on the
I was
council
just
now.
clarifying.
You
Yep,
can
no,
raise-
I'm glad you reminded me.
you can raise your hand, but you should not counter.
Oh, thanks. Preston, that'll make my job so much easier. Let me say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 6,
6, 4, 0, it's 6, 0, 1.
601. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to fireworks. Can I
Okay.
entertain a motion?
Motion to
We'll
extend the
some-
contract with the fireworks people from last year.
Do I hear a
Second.
second?
Second, was that Joe?
Yep.
Dana?
Can you add the name of the
Discussion?
company
Dana?
again? What's the name of the company again?
You really have to ask me
Um,
that, huh?
Yes.
It
come on, Kat.
is, oh, it'll come to me.
Isn't it Atlas?
Was it Atlas?
I don't,
Is it-
It was the popular one.
well, maybe we should move on for a little bit and we'll come back to fireworks. I
That's all right.
will.
It doesn't have to be in the
Well,
motion.
you know
but-
what? I do believe it is Atlas. I will put Atlas in, and if we need to correct it at the next meeting, we'll correct it at the next meeting.
Atlas being,
we're-
so the motion is to accept the
Extend
contract with
Atlas contract.
From last year.
And if we have made a mistake on the name,
We'll change it.
you can correct that.
Yes.
And we did have some discussion outside of this, or is there any
Well,
other?
I had Kevin Bova contact them and ask if they were available for July 2nd and 3rd, and they said that they were, but they were not available for a rain date on the 4th. So we take our chances with the 3rd, and if that doesn't work, we move it out a week. I do not know if they're available the last weekend in June. I would have to ask them that. But our deposit is still good, so we're half the cost of the fireworks, because right now there's no Trumbull Day money in the budget for the coming year.
Okay,
But we do have carryover from the special agency account. So you're voting to extend Atlas's contract.
that is correct.
Yes, last year's fireworks company, and I believe it is Atlas.
So I think we're done with the discussion unless, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Anybody abstain? Okay, it's
7-0.
passed.
Okay.
Joanne, did you raise your hand on it?
I raised both
Kathy,
hands.
did you count that?
I counted both hands and 1 foot.
Before we go on to the next item, can I just ask something?
Sure.
That was a question. You want to ask another?
I sent an email about this idea I had about making Trumbull Day a real celebration of Trumbull and having as much as possible the vendors, the sponsors, and all of the people involved, all of the companies involved, as much as possible, be Trumbull companies. So it's like a real celebration of Trumbull. So maybe instead of, food trucks from all over the place, contacting, and I know in some cases this may be more work, but there aren't that many restaurants in Trumbull really, but asking them if they'd be interested in doing a food stand or a food truck, to kind of spread the theme of it being a real Trumbull event. But I didn't hear back from anybody, so I didn't know if the email went through or not.
I got it.
Okay.
And I
got it.
responded to you, but I think Tracy can better answer that simply because she knows what the health department requirements were. And I don't know how many of our restaurants have.
Oh, yeah, you said
trucks.
so.
I think it's probably, Joanne, it's probably a good idea, but it is a lot more work, I think. But it's something we could show a preference to, I think. Tracy, you can
Yeah,
correct
for
me if
sure.
you-
Definitely. I mean, we certainly reach out to everybody local first. And if local restaurants can heat and cool the food, do everything the way they need to do for the health department, some just don't have that kind of equipment or that setup to do it remotely like that.
Yeah.
They can cater, but they can't keep it hot or cold all day sitting out. So if they can, there have been a few restaurants in the past that have been able to do it, but most of them have a truck that are local that we use, like Drubacue, people like that who are in town, and Vazzi's, who's right nearby, who have their truck. So if they're able to do it, sure, I'm happy to reach out to some of them, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about food trucks next, unless we're moving into that. We just talked about fireworks, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
You're on, Tracy.
uh,
Continue.
So typically I reach out to the vendors who were with us the previous year. We didn't have a previous year, but we did have a dozen who were committed to last year. So I would like to reach out to them and see if they're interested or available again. And then I can reach out to local restaurants and see if it's something they could do with the health department requirements.
Can I make
I think,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Preston.
no, you go ahead.
No, just, given obviously the pandemic and the hardship restaurants have faced, do we want to entertain the idea of waiving the application fee to be a Trumbull Day participant?
I don't think we want to do that first. I just had a discussion recently with somebody, the best way to make something worthless is to give it away. Number one. Number two, we do want some commitment, and there's no commitment unless they paid. So we could run into a situation where people sign up and they don't go, and that would be a problem. Number three, we could use the revenue. So I think we could, the discussion might be in lowering the price if we wanted to, but I don't know. I don't know that we want to give away spots. I think that would be more, and from an administrative side for Tracy, that would be pretty tough, wouldn't it, Tracy?
I think, like you said, with the commitment, it's hard to know if someone's going to follow through or not. We would need to know that we had all those trucks. I think if our attendance has to be lower because of COVID restrictions, then maybe we do talk about lowering the fee because we're going to have a lower attendance, having fewer trucks, certainly, so that they're all busier. We're always trying to find that balance to make sure that we have the right numbers. So they're busy, but we have options and we don't have really long lines. We can't have lines and crowded people with COVID. So this year is totally different. There's a lot to consider. But
Yeah,
we can certainly think about lowering the fee, especially if we're going to have lower attendance.
How much was the fee, Trace, again? Can you remind us all?
500
And it
500.
brought in
for both days.
$13,000.
for 2 days. Yep.
And that's $13,000 in the revenue side.
Any other thoughts on that?
Preston, I have another idea. At least on the food trucks, what you could do is open up the enrollment, if you want to call it that, for the food trucks to Trumbull only for the first week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And then depending upon response, then Tracy can open it up to everybody. So you're given preference to Trumbull first. I don't, just because you might have a duplication, you might have to say no to somebody. At least you'll know that earlier. It's an idea.
And I think that's a good idea. I think there also, I felt that we should have some loyalty to the people who supported us in the past and have come in, like 2 years ago when we had the 106-degree weather. They didn't make a lot of money, but they came back 2 years or 3 years ago when we had the hot weather, and then they came back 2 years ago. Last year they were signing up and didn't come. Excuse me. I think we should have some, I think we should show some loyalty from that respect. What do you think, Tracy?
Yeah, I always like to reach out to the vendors who have been there before. And now we've been doing it a few years. So we have trucks who have been there every year, or who wish to be there again. And last year was really hard for so many reasons when everything shut down, but I felt terribly that we couldn't have the event, and they couldn't really do any of their events. I mean, everything shut down. Obviously we weren't the only one, but that was really hard to tell people that they weren't going to be able to have this event in addition to all their other ones canceled. And so I'm not even sure how many still are in business. I know of a few for sure, because I've been to them, or I've been to the restaurants if they have a storefront. Most likely they are, but I have a feeling some of them may not be. And even last year when I reached out to people from the previous year, they had moved or didn't have the business anymore. So things change. And we have to talk about how many people we're going to be able to have, because that will determine how many trucks we need so that they all do have a good amount of business. And we don't know that yet from the governor, or if we can space it out. I don't see that, but we can talk about it under other business of how we would do that. Would we have ticketed time slots, or some other way to control the flow, the number of people who come?
If there's a requirement at all for that.
The amusement parks have opened, are being told they can open at I think 100%, correct? So the next guidance is supposed to be for carnivals, festivals, etc. So hopefully that will come in the next couple of weeks.
And if everything goes the way we all hope it goes, I could see them being relaxed even more so, whatever they come out with. So I do think we have to plan for administering the flow of people on the next set of guidelines that they give us. But hopefully it'll be an easier job when they come out with less stringent rules. And but I do think it'll be something that we can control fairly easy because we do have gates. So that we have to find out what the rules are before we can put up procedures to follow the rules.
Sure.
But I don't know if there's anything to vote on right now, except for, and if you'd like to vote on something. I don't know that we're ready to actually discuss prices at this point. Have you heard from any vendors? None of them called you up, have they, Tracy?
I heard from one who hasn't been with us. Maybe they were when it was Fall Festival or something years ago, just asking what was happening. But that's it. I haven't heard from anybody, and I haven't reached out because I've been waiting to see what we were
Yeah.
going to be able to do.
Which one did you hear from?
Nutmeg concession.
Oh, yeah, I used them when I was on the evil Trumbull Day committee.
Your file.
They're not local. They're like from Rhode Island or no,
Oh,
or
wow.
not Rhode Island, but north. They're from north.
And most
Well,
of
I
the other
don't- I
ones have
don't-
been Trumbull, Bridgeport, Stratford,
Yeah.
you know, as far as Norwalk. But I haven't reached out to anybody yet. I wanted to see if an event was happening. I don't know if people think I should reach out preliminarily and say, if we have an event, would you be interested? Or just give it another couple of weeks, we'll meet and see where we're at that point.
Why don't we give it a couple of weeks because
Yeah.
Preston needs to talk to,
We don't even know the
Do
date
work?
yet. We haven't
yeah,
nailed
yeah,
down. But
we don't have a
so-
date.
We'll come back if I can jump way ahead, if we can talk about our next meeting, because this meeting seemed to take a fair amount of time to schedule. And
Well, that was Mr. Chin's fault because he had too many meetings scheduled
Oh,
for those nights. So we'll
we're
blame
not,
him.
we're not pointing.
He's not
we're
in his
not-
seat. I'm pointing right at him.
Well,
No, when you have Zoom, we can't do more than 3 Zooms at a night. And there were 3 for that night. And then, of course, I suggested St. Patrick's Day, which was sacrilegious. I should put my hat on so everybody knows that, you know, I'm Irish. So
Oh,
we we can talk about a meeting. If we set it up tonight, Bill will be
well,
happy to book it.
can we do that so we can go forward and do the
Sure.
rest of? So if we're talking about the week of, I have to go back to my other calendar or my other computer to get the calendar. So Kathy, can you help us?
I'm
2 weeks?
pulling up a calendar. 2 weeks from today would be the
29th.
29th. Monday's the 29th. So anything that, I mean, do we want to stay with, what did we usually do? Wednesday night, Thursday night? I don't even know.
I think we're,
Tuesday-
Joe and I have
Tuesday.
some conflicts and Vinny, and have conflicts on Wednesday with Rotary if it's at the
Okay.
beginning. So if Thursday, I think works better. for us.
Thursday?
I can't do the 29th.
Okay, so
Thursday
that-
would be April 1st.
Wednesday, did you say?
Thursday is April 1st.
Is
We could do Wednesday, the 31st, because that would still be in March and that wouldn't be a conflict for any of us as far as Rotary is concerned.
Okay.
That's fine.
Tracy, you okay with that?
Do that. Yep.
Wednesday, the
Bridget?
31st at 7 PM.
Bill's
you-
left us.
Does
That's
does
right.
Bill need to look at the schedule for Zoom meetings, see if there's 3 town meetings that night?
I can probably do that. I'll wait for Bill to come back. He's better at it.
Okay.
So tentatively, we've set this up for Wednesday, the 31st.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, let's get back to trucks then. And if we can have on the next agenda, we'll have a better idea of what the days are. So we'll discuss more, get into more in-depth conversation as to the prices we're going to charge and the people we're going to go out to. If there's going to be a preference to the town and to vendors that have supported us in the past. And so Tracy, you have a couple weeks off.
Just
Preston?
just
Oh, yeah.
a couple,
I'll just be
just
doing
a
nothing.
couple.
Preston,
Yeah,
I think I'll teach in the
could you,
meantime.
could you check something with Mr. Stewart, just so we could save the calendar event agenda item for next 2 weeks? That if we decide to go the week before, I'm just thinking out loud of Kathy suggested maybe 3 days. I don't know, or you did Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or someone was thinking Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Whatever you decide, check his availability before the meeting.
I can tell you, knowing how he operates, that it'll be that weekend. If we decide to go Thursday to Sunday, he'll be okay.
Okay.
He'll be
Very
available.
good.
He'll have the rides available. The rides are sitting there on Thursday and set up. Whether
Okay,
he uses
thank
them.
you.
But I'll check with him. That's a good idea, Joe.
So I just see the Conservation Commission on the 31st. There's a few senior center things that are on Zoom, and then town meeting says Conservation Commission, 7 PM on the
For the
31st.
evening. All right.
Oh, it
so,
says regular meeting canceled, sorry. So maybe that's not happening. Conservation Commission regular meeting canceled on the 31st, so maybe that's,
Wednesdays
nothing.
are not as bad.
Okay.
Planning and zoning is on a Wednesday usually. Inland wetlands maybe on a Wednesday, but if we're out 2 weeks, we should be okay for now. And the senior citizen stuff is during the day.
Okay, so we're good. You're going to run that by Bill and get back to us if.
I am
if
going
there's-
to, yep.
Thank you. We are fortunate, by the way, to have such a great secretary.
I've missed you so much, Preston. I really have. My hair's changed color, We
You're a
look
glutton for
It's
different.
getting
punishment,
darker.
It's getting darker, okay. It's getting
I have
darker.
my hairstylist put a little gray in, but that's not on the agenda. Let's move on. Entertainment.
Entertainment.
So we still have the contracts where we were able to extend for the Parrot Beach cover band, the Jimmy Buffett cover band. We just need to see if those either the Friday or the Saturday are available, that
Okay.
they're available those dates. So I think once we have a better idea of which night for the fireworks, because I don't think we should do both the big music and the fireworks on the same night. I think that they should be on opposite nights. And we still have the audio and everything is outstanding. That was a contract that we were able to extend as well. So they still have our deposits from last year.
For both audio and
Yes. Mhm.
saving me money already, Bridget.
What about the stage, Kathy?
The stage I would have to arrange with Stratford.
Again, okay.
So do you want to contact them and just see what the availability of
Their
that
availability
is?
is, yeah.
Because if there's two things that drive the
Yep.
dates, it's going to be that and the carnival.
Mhm. Yep. I will check with the availability. They had put a big fee on it, but I was told I could woo them with my charms and get it off. So I'll do my best.
Well,
Our
then
minutes from-
you should get it for free then.
our minutes from February say a flat fee of $1,000.
$1,000, yeah.
Whoa.
But that was because, it used to be basically free. We just paid for the guy to deliver it and
Right.
set it up. They had so many requests from individuals to rent the stage for events in yards and parks and things. So they put that in to hopefully slow down the requests. So I think, and also because they didn't know who they were renting to.
Sure.
So I think we'll be okay.
While I'm pulling out all my old minutes, we did have Atlas in 2019.
Thank you.
Just wanted to see it in writing.
So just with, budgetary issues, is there any other entertainment that we should be looking into? Or are we going to kind of pump the brakes for the time being?
I'm not in charge. Preston is.
I think I will throw a preliminary budget together
Okay.
for the next meeting. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but what was coming to mind were some of the bands that we had talked about last time that weren't available last year, but we had tried to get them. They may be available this year. They were fairly low cost, and I don't want to mention any names at this point, but we could talk about that and see if they're available.
We've
Okay.
got some local Trumbull bands who've
Yeah.
expressed an interest.
Yep, for sure. Okay, very good.
Okay. Vendors. Who wants to talk about vendors? Dana, you want to talk? No, you're not
I'm
even on
your
the
liaison. I'm your
we're putting
Rotary
it
liaison.
as other.
Dana's the Rotary liaison, yeah.
Yes,
So
you're under
ven-
other business.
That's where Joanne is volunteering to help.
Yeah, yeah, vendors is tents, right? So,
Yes.
so this is especially where I thought we could have like the taste of Trumbull, not literally food. But I had talked about this last year, maybe, contacting Rena Bacalar and having a list of all of the companies that are in Trumbull and seeing who amongst them would like to have a tent or be a sponsor. So tackling both at once, but I think that, they might like the exposure. And so it would be, the for-profit and the non-for-profit organizations here in Trumbull that I was thinking about, but I don't know how many you'd want. And, and I haven't done any work on that. I just thought about it. I didn't do anything about it, but that's my thought.
I think a lot's going to depend on how socially distanced everything has to be, how many we can have, or
Yeah.
if we can have, because my thought was if we may have to spread the rides out even more so that those lines don't overlap like they have in the past. Bill, before you walk away again, just can March 31st at 7 p.m., can we have a Zoom reserved?
Yeah, March 31st works.
Okay, would you
we're
put
in.
us in, please, for 7? Thank you.
Mr. Glanigan, I don't think I checked with you directly on that date. Were you okay? I omitted your commitment to Rotary, the board meetings, but yeah, I think you're on.
No, I'm just kidding. Yes, that's fine.
I liked it the other way, but okay. So we'll wait until next week, and hopefully, I don't know, did the governor come out with some updates on rules today?
I didn't hear anything today, but I haven't been paying attention to that. But he was supposed to come out mid-March, sometime in mid-March, with more relaxed things.
So we should have more information to work with at our next meeting.
But yes, by March 31st, yes.
He did come out with just pushing up vaccination availability.
Yes,
So like
that's right.
those dates got moved. So I would imagine with that being expedited, the restrictions are probably going to be even greater. Starting like this Friday, you can have 25 people in your home and 100 people out elsewhere. So I would imagine by July, things are going to be much more lenient, given that many more people be vaccinated, hopefully.
Especially because you'll be outside too for this.
Right, exactly.
So. I know my son has his wedding reception in September, and they've already gotten a lot more relaxed guidance from the venue where their reception is as to what they can have. Still can't have a buffet, but they can have a dance floor and dancing, and you don't have to dance with only your table pod. So we might get.
We're having a prom, so.
Yep. We pushed off the May reception to next year. It's like the 4-year wedding cycle here, 4 sons, 4 weddings, crazy stuff.
So I think we've talked about vendors, and now Kathy, I'll throw this right toward the town as far as sponsors, but I do think your suggestion, Joanne, although you're not on the board and can't vote nay or that we contact Rita, that might be a good source of finding some sponsors. Kathy, have they been knocking down the door trying to throw money at Trumbull Day? Anybody, when I say
Absolutely
they, I
not.
mean, okay.
Absolutely not. No, but I need to do, if we're going to go through with this, I need to do a very different letter. I don't know where companies and businesses are financially. We've got the same that come back every time: Anderson Windows, the Royce, the Royce was just sold. A lot of small insurance companies. I don't know what we'll get or who we'll get, but I will do my best to, they may be happy to sponsor and get their name out there. It hasn't been out there for a couple of years. It's going to be kind of a,
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
We've got some
Mm.
giant new developments in town,
absolutely,
they,
absolutely.
like 10 Trumbull and that nursing
Yep.
or old age, whatever it's called next door.
The
There's
cruise
some
ship
big,
that.
there's some big things that are.
I think
just
this
about
provides-
ready to open.
Yeah,
It provides an opportunity for a lot of businesses, I think. So,
absolutely. And I would go after the bigger businesses, the development people first before I worry about hitting the smaller,
Yeah.
the small insurance
Well-
companies that have donated in the past. We'll.
On the other hand, we don't want to make them feel like they're not included, so.
Oh, no, they'll get the letters, but I would expect that the larger corporations and businesses, UI was great 2 years ago. They gave us, a decent amount. I'll work on our regulars.
Good. And I would like everybody on the committee and some of those not on the committee, because more ideas lead to better ideas. Just to think of, my idea was just as a underlying slogan for Trumbull Day, return to normalcy, as a little slogan. But if you can think of something that was better or worse, it might turn out, please try to
It
do
would
that.
be nice to have a catchy slogan. And I
Uh,
heard Jay Preston Merritt wanted to be the top sponsor. Jay Preston Merritt, CPA.
He
I
did
think
want
he
that.
wanted to-
He did want that, but he's not sure if he has the time, given all the time he spends working on this. So other business, Mr. Lonigan.
Yes, I'm happy to.
Our secretary has had high praise at this meeting about having a complete agenda. And frankly, I've reviewed it, but I did note when I reviewed it that there was no.
I missed Rotary.
of
No,
liquor.
I'm happy to take that on. I'll take care of that. And I have 2 lawn signs, by the way.
You-
You have trouble.
Are you charging the commission rent for storage?
Are they
Just
still on?
if you're looking for them, I have them.
All right.
And I believe I have, Kathy, I actually have a white hose too.
Does it have the purification nozzle on the end of it? That's what I'm looking
Well, I will
for.
say it did. But I don't
Oh,
think
it's so good to be back.
I don't think it's any longer there. It's
Yeah,
been
okay.
confiscated by somebody in the neighborhood.
Okay. You haven't been using the hose, have you? That's our sanitary.
No,
hose.
it's sanitary. It's,
Okay. Okay.
is there any other business that anybody would like to bring up or talk about?
No, I only have 7% battery life yet.
Well, that's interesting.
I only
That's a
have
good way to
12
end the
minutes,
meeting.
I'm right behind you.
Then the next meeting is the 31st.
Yep.
Good to see everybody. It really, at some point I would like to get off of Zoom and have a live meeting. But for now, we'll plan on the 31st being a Zoom meeting unless things change. If we wanted to meet live, is there anybody, if we were able to, is there anybody who would have an objection or unable to do that? on
The
board?
only problem with meeting live is it has to be open to the public, and we have no, I mean, nobody's ever come, but you could have an issue if people did want to come that we can't. We could do 9 people in the courtroom spread out. We could probably do 9 people in the library, the auditorium room spread out, but you have to be available for the public. Unless, I don't know, Bill, did we ever do a meeting in public with the public joining by Zoom?
We have, it's complicated and
Oh my gosh, yes,
that's-
planning and zoning, we did.
We don't want to hear about
planning and
problems, Bill.
Well,
I-
It
We
only
do
took
okay.
2
have some,
days.
we have a
Look,
member of the
we're probably
public
putting the
on
cart
tonight,
bef-
by the way.
before the horse. Let's see if we're able in their support to do that, and we'll get back to Bill and he can solve all our problems. I'm kidding, Bill. We'll work that out if we can do it. But right now it's a Zoom meeting and we'll talk about if there's any changes, we'll talk about it. So can I entertain a motion? Did I miss
Motion
anything?
to adjourn.
Motion,
I'll second. This is Tracy.
any
Thanks, Tracy.
discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Good vote, Joanne. Mr. Wanting, okay, I think it passed. I'm not gonna take a
Roll
count.
call?
Okay, we could if you'd like.
Nope. Good.
It's been a
No, by
pleasure seeing
unanimous
everybody.
consent.
Bye, everyone.